Well, the car's here. We made it to the hotel last night at about 6 in the morning. So slept 2 hours, sun's up, and we're gonna head to the track and hopefully make a 10-second pass. We'll see how it goes, but I'm gonna jump in, fire this thing up, see how it treats me. Hopefully everything's still good. Let's see, ignition, fuel pump's priming, give it a couple of pats. Ready to go. So we're gonna warm it up for a minute, and then we'll head to the track. All right, we're rolling into Bradenton Motorsports Park here in about 10 minutes, and the car is a lot louder than it used to be. I don't think the mufflers were exactly designed for 12.5 plus 1 compression, and yeah, it's a little louder in here. So we'll have to look at that when we get to the track, but the car's doing really good otherwise. The brake pedal's a little spongy for some reason, and there was a tiny oil leak from the rear of the motor. So there's a couple problems, but we're still here. So here we go. Officially made it to Bradenton Motorsports Park. There's definitely some things on the car to look at. Unfortunately, you know, parked in grass, we get to lay around in the dirt, which isn't fun, but that's the way it goes sometimes. So we'll get organized and switch this thing over to race mode and make a pass. Let's get to it. So we made a pass. It ran an 11.2. I'm gonna leave it here on the asphalt and change the tires there because changing them in the dirt sucks. So gonna swap it over to street mode, hit the road. 11.2 is not what I wanted, but you know, the car is still running and that's what counts. So we're gonna keep on rolling. So we've been driving along here on day 2. I really haven't filmed much because honestly the GoPro was dead. So I charged it up for you guys a little bit. And this is the first checkpoint. We sat in a little traffic, did some back road driving. Javelin is doing fantastic, running cool, and not really having any issues. So ran at 11.2 at the track, and now we're driving down the street in the daylight. We're here at the first checkpoint. It's called the Motor Enclave. It's basically M1 concourse, but here in Florida, and it's super cool. So we're using their super nice parking lot to work on the cars. David was checking his valve lash, and I have a little oil leak from this one valve cover, and I've been wanting to check the valve lash because actually the valves were set in 1995 by Don Ristari himself, and they have not been changed since. So everybody says you can't run old valve springs. You might have an issue with them breaking or not having spring pressure. This thing is running 10s in A with the valve springs that have been in it for 30 years and the valve lash that he set literally in 1995.
Yeah, but also Tony Mancusi has rotated this motor every 3-4 months for like 30 years. So you don't have one particular spring compressed, but even then we've heard that's not a big deal.
Yeah, so we're gonna pull this and look though, because I'm curious, and also because there's an oil leak and I want to see if I can fix it, because I don't want an oil leak on my car. And we're gonna hopefully not see anything weird under here and keep rolling on. So David just pulled out his feeler gauges and ran just the valves that are loose rather than turning the motor over, just to kind of see where the health thing is, and they're still perfect.
Yeah, I don't think they moved.
Or last 30 years ago, and they just drove like 400 miles or 300 miles. That's insane. So I had a little leak on this valve cover, so I wanted to fix that. It was a perfect excuse to just look at things. You see anything weird?
Well, yours is offset like...
Yeah, but it kind of just floats.
Oh yeah, yours floats. See, mine floats from there over.
Yeah.
So I need to adjust my my guide.
Your guide plate, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't complain with that at all.
So this would indicate no wear is going on.
Yeah, it's working perfect. So we just drove this thing over 300 miles and still super healthy, still super happy. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is.
Tony, I bet, never thought the engine that he bought for the car would be doing this. And Don Ristari, if he was still alive, would be like, you did what with that thing?
Yeah.
So sorry, Don. I'm trying to take good care of it, but it's pretty impressive what it's able to do. All right, we give it a clean bill of health, so I'm gonna sneak this back in here. Let's give us a little slack on that. Makes it a lot easier to get the valve cover in. And then you go underneath.
Yeah, just bend the cowl.
The cow's not really doing much. Yeah, so my oil leak is just this valve cover. I can live with that. We just went through like half an hour plus of like bumper to bumper construction traffic. It was freaking awful. The car, we have now straight pipes. This car has a little too much compression for the mufflers that were on it, and they kind of blew apart. So I had to cut the mufflers off because they were disintegrating and fiberglass was going everywhere from the packing. So yeah, we're dying in the car from carbon monoxide poisoning. My dad is actually struggling. I feel okay, but he is like legitimately, yeah, he's struggling.
Yeah.
You don't look very good.
I think 3 more days of this and I'll be dead.
Yeah,
you can
like,
just drop me off at the cemetery.
Drop me off at the morgue. No, I think I'm gonna try to find him another ride so that he doesn't die from carbon monoxide. But look who we ended up right next to again. It just keeps happening. The Javelins want to be together. So Brian Goldstone's got a 6-second average and just absolutely killing it. This has an 11-second average. It's killing it on the street, and that's what counts. So we're gonna figure out something for my dad and then head to the hotel for the night. We were hoping to be at the hotel before dark. As you can see, it's dark. So we'll figure it out. gas station. Last gas stop for the night. I haven't given you guys many updates because we've just been cruising, but the Javelin is still here. We're only 60 miles from the hotel. We've done like almost 200 miles, and it's running great. It's just slow going. So had a couple little issues, fixed the fuel pump, and just been rolling on. So the Javelin started missing real bad. I think it fouled the plugs out, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull the hood and change the spark plugs real quick. Luckily they're super easy on this car and it'll take like 5 minutes, which is what we always say, and then we're there for an hour.
Maybe we shouldn't do it because there's someone stalking us.
Who? Oh, well, that's okay. But the cars aren't running. It's better. We're already getting attention. Police are stopping to ask us what's going on, which is a fair question. This is not normal. So we're gonna go ahead and pull the hood off and look at the spark plugs. Well, look who we ran into again. Just finished changing the plugs, and Goldstone's Javelin's here. You got Adam and Cody. You got David and Connor. And now 40 miles to the hotel. Is that the move? 40 miles? Yes, 40 miles. I think we're gonna make it. All right, well, it is morning of day 3. We made it to Gainesville, and we're gonna fire the car up and head to the track. Gotta stop at O'Reilly's and get some spark plugs first though, so let's go. All right, ignition, oh, cutoff's off. Still learning the car. We'll get there. Gotta do this. So ignition on, fuel pump on, give the car a few pats. And just like that, we made it to day 3 of sick week in a car I never expected to make it past like minute 3. But we're here, and we're gonna get the car switched over because we're the first run group today. So cue the time lapse and we're gonna get to work. I think we've got it down to a system now, and we should be able to make it happen pretty quickly. So here we go. We're officially in the staging lanes here at Gainesville Raceway and ready to make the hit. We're the first run group today, which is super nice. We get to get done early, get the car switched over, hang out for a little bit, and hit the road, and hopefully hopefully get to the next venue pretty early. So yeah, I'm gonna get in the car, get strapped in, and we're sending this thing down the quarter mile again. Maybe I can figure out how to get into the 10s without the trans brake. We're gonna find out. The brakes are a little sketchy. I might need to look at them later, so we'll see what happens. They have a really long shutdown area here, so even if the brakes don't work great, we'll be all right. Look at the weight. I weighed it.
Not bad.
That's insane. I just weighed it on the scales. It weighs 2,590 pounds, ready to race as a street car.
How does it weigh so little?
Well, got a little update for you guys. The car ran fantastic here at Gainesville. Ran a 10.8, 155 60 foot. But you notice, nobody else. It's just me. My dad decided to go back to Orlando. He's got some work to do apparently. I found out last minute this is what's happening. So now I am on my own in this beast that I have to somehow wrangle and turn over every day back and forth from street to strip and somehow not break, somehow survive. It's gonna be fine. But he has to take care of what he has to take care of. I understand that, so we're gonna make it happen. There's no point complaining about it. You just gotta make it happen. I got David and Connor, so we're gonna be just fine. David's been taking care of a car and a half already anyway, because he's been like doing just as much as I have on this and taking care of his own 9-second street car, so yeah, it'll be fine. We're gonna hit the road and go over to KSR and weld up the 4-link, so here we go. David, Connor, and I are about to hit the road. Got the Javelin set over to street mode. Modified my trailer setup a little bit, flipped the hitch over so that this thing's more level. Got the slick outside the trailer so I have more room inside, and now I'm solo in here, so I added myself a Velcroed on cup holder setup so that I can actually put my stuff down and not lose it. So we're heading over to KSR and we'll fix this car up. Give a massive shout out to KSR Performance over here. He's letting me bring the Javelin over to his shop. We're gonna weld up the busted old 4-link in here, and yeah, huge thanks to Kevin. You're the man. There we go. Made it over to KSR Performance. The car is going on the lift, and we're gonna weld up the 4-link bracket and fix the brake leak so I don't have spongy brakes anymore. So this guy's helping me out. What's your name?
Eddie.
Eddie, pleasure to meet you, Eddie. What's your name?
Ricky.
Ricky and Eddie. And we're gonna weld up the rear of the car and bleed the brakes after we fix the leak, and we'll be dialed and on the road. Oh, yeah. They're wire wheeling the terrible welds, which for trackside welds, David's welds are awesome, but they're gonna TIG over it and really burn it in. and we're cleaning up some of the brake fluid leak that's back there, and we're gonna have to fix that as well. But yeah, can't complain with this. I got Steve Morris's wife's car up here, apparently having some transmission issues. The transmission is out of it. Yeah, this is life right now, but we're gonna get it fixed and get back on the road. It's such a nice metal you're welding with no fluids on it at all.
Yeah, it's not popping back anywhere.
Again, massive shout out to Kevin from KSR Performance. This is Soccer Mom, his 7-second Camaro that he runs at Sick Week as well. We would not be making trans brake hits without this man and his crew right here. I'm gonna grab my exhaust tips from in here, and we're gonna weld them onto what's left of my exhaust as well. So we're making a bunch of improvements. So we're also welding up my exhaust because I no longer have mufflers, but we're gonna just weld the turn downs onto what's there, so it at least get it out under the car instead of just directly back to where it's smoking me out inside. So Eddie's gonna weld these up. At least you're working with some nice stainless that doesn't have any oil inside or anything. Yeah,
it's brand new, right?
No, it's been through some stuff. I'm excited to see it though. We were struggling a little bit. There we go. I had a dead GoPro again, so I didn't film a whole lot for you guys on the drive, but we only have like 70 miles left of the drive today. We left KSR, checked off the first checkpoint, and we've just been motoring along. Javelin had a little bit of an oil leak from the valve cover gasket from where I checked the valves the other night, and I just tightened it down a little bit, but I'm gonna change it tonight because I'm tired of oil dripping all over my nice white headers and all that. So yeah, other than that, we can't complain. We're gonna drive the last little bit and get to the hotel and just chill and do some work on the cars. Maybe go out and get a nice dinner instead of just struggling like we have. So yeah, there we go. Day 3 here at Sick Week is a go. So we pulled over because I thought I heard a little noise coming out of the engine. We did tighten the header bolts because they seem pretty loose, but we're about to have Dr. Wakesman on the case with his stethoscope. So I'm gonna fire it up and he's gonna check for noises that are not supposed to be there. Checking his motor a lot with stuff, so he knows what he's talking about. I like it. We're gonna keep rolling.
Louder on that side.
Yeah.
But not much at all.
Okay. The hotel here on day 3 of Sick Week. We had a good dinner here in Valdosta. We're at the hotel for the night. We'll be racing at South Georgia Motorsports Park in the morning, and we finally have a little bit of time. It's not even 10, so me and David are going to do some maintenance on our cars. I'm going to change a set of plugs Funny enough, I'm actually going to put the old yellow Excel plugs that came out of it when we got the engine back in it because it ran so good with them. And why not put them back in it? They worked fine. So we're going to do that. I'm going to change the oil, maybe check the valves and put new valve cover gaskets on it because they've been leaking. And then we'll hopefully be ready for a good night's sleep and another day of racing. And we have a really long drive tomorrow. It's about 300 miles. So yeah, got to make sure the car is ready for that. So let's get to work. All right, late night maintenance is just about wrapped up. I've checked all the valves. All I gotta do is toss the spark plugs back in, put some new valve cover gaskets on these, and toss in some fresh driven racing oil. We're running 20W50 for 5 quarts of it, and Nitro 70 for the other 5 quarts. So this stuff is some of the thickest oil I've ever seen in my life. It is a 70 weight oil that they run in top fuel cars. We are officially here for day 4 of Sick Week at South Georgia Motorsports Park in Valdosta, Georgia. The Javelin did fantastic on the drive last night. We just kind of checked it over, checked the valves, changed the oil, changed the spark plugs, and it's ready to go. And because we welded up the rear end, we're gonna be doing ourselves a trans brake hit and seeing how the car acts. So I'm gonna adjust the shocks, and then we'll line up in the staging lanes, what they call our group. I kind of cheated up here to the front so that hopefully I end up close to the front of our run group, and that way we can get on the road early because today's drive is over 250 miles. It's almost 300, I think. So yeah, car's doing good. I'm doing good. Can't complain even a little bit. I don't know about this thing. This thing's freaking wild. So crazy stuff going on here at Sick Week 2024.
Let's do it.
All right, we got Adam Dory here. He's one of the announcers and video hosts for the Sick live stream that's going on.
Freedom Plus has brought me in, and of course that's Garrett's, production company thing, and it's been super duper fun. Whole different deal for me. Typically, I'm up in the can watching all the runs. Now I'm out and about and doing interviews. And if you paid attention last year, I actually interviewed you for like 10 minutes, and we were talking about the Y'all Hall trailer, and you mentioned the Jav.
Yeah.
And here you are with it, and man, I can't wait to interview you. And like I just told you, like you have to get back to Orlando because we're gonna do it when we get back.
He says I have to make the next drive or I don't get my interview. So he's putting out an ultimatum.
Or else.
Yeah.
Right?
Adam had the best line last year. Some people ask, why do you do this crap? This is horrible. You don't sleep, you spend all your money, you break your car, you're stressed out. But how is it?
It's like getting kicked in the nuts, but at least someone's touching your nuts.
Exactly. One of the best lines I've ever heard. It sums it up better than I could ever explain. If you haven't done it, just imagine that and let's drag and drive.
Absolutely, dude. And it's so much fun having all these cars out here, and obviously there's the biggest like plethora of crazy stuff out here. There's an all-wheel drive Civic that runs in the 8s.
Jeez.
I mean, there's obviously Lutz's stuff, Snot Rocket, all of that, but just everything, all kinds of cool stuff. There's a Pacer. There's a Pacer here.
Where? I haven't even seen the Pacer.
He's in the Sycamore.
Oh, okay.
He's in the Sycamore. But it's so much fun, man. This is super cool. I really am. This is the best time that is. And really, I've been telling people like this is my religion, and I'm preaching the gospel of drag and drive.
It's a good place to be. The people here, the whole vibe, the environment. There's lows, there's highs. Some days you're like, I don't want to be here and all this sucks. The next day you're like, oh, this is why I did.
Well, and it can be different by like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh man, I hate this. I don't want to be here. I want to go home. And then something happens. It might be a run. It might be you found your part. It might whatever. Then you're right back on top.
Yeah. Boom. And back to glory.
Right, dude. Exactly. 0 to hero in a second. But dude, like I said, I can't wait to talk about the Jav. You've got to get it back. And Stevie, my fiance, huge Javelin fan. And so I told her, I'm going to give you a Javgasm.
A Javgasm. Wow, I've never heard that one. We're not naming the car that, to be clear. Not happening. Nope. Don't even suggest it.
I'm going to name it that.
Don't even.
If I've got the microphone, you'll listen to every word I have to say.
Oh no, this is bad. All right, well, I'm going to get in the car here in a second. They're about to call C, and we're going to make a run and see how it does. Trans brake kit today. Welded up the rear end at KSR. So.
Hell yeah, dude. And when I do interview you, I need to interview the inside of the yaw haul
Oh yeah, of course.
because it's got the shag.
Yeah, I don't want to know what's happened to that trailer over the years. There's automotive fluids in there. I don't know. I don't want to know what other
Don't
kind
get a
of
black
fluids.
light.
Never.
Because really, honestly, like ignorance is bliss in that way.
Yeah.
But hey,
For
good luck
sure.
on your next run, dude. I will see
Always a
you
pleasure.
back at Orlando because you have to get back because we have to talk about the Javgasm.
Fingers crossed. All right, and that's Adam Dory, folks. Excited to see what that was. That felt pretty good. There we go. We just did a 10.83 at 125. Pretty sure I forgot to adjust my shocks. So I think I left with the shocks on 9 on compression and rebound. So it kind of just bounced off the tire, skipped a little bit, then took off. So it didn't dead hook. So I got to remember my shock settings. I need to make a list. I'm going to make a list tonight and then tape it to the dash or something so I can run through it. And then that way I don't miss anything like I just did right there. But 10.8, that's not bad. If I can get a 10.5 or maybe even a lower tomorrow, I might get that 10-second average. But yeah, gotta remember to adjust your shocks.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, did it bounce off the tire, kinda?
Kind of went, I don't know, I'm trying to remember.
Did you feel it?
Kind of went to the right. Yeah, I got a video of it.
Yeah, so it didn't really drive hard to the right, but the
Oh,
shocks.
when you did a burnout, that's when it went.
Yeah,
to
I
the
don't know
right.
what
Yeah.
that was. I think I was part was dry, part was wet.
Yeah.
Because the water box was really weird there. It wasn't like a square, it was
Yeah.
like strips.
Yeah, I mean, it looked good going down the track.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
but
you feel
I think
like-
it kind of bounced off the tire and skipped a little because
Okay.
they're both at 9. They're dead middle.
Yeah,
In the rear.
so it may have, because it didn't leave hard.
No. And that was 2,900 RPM, so I should have done like a 1.4 60 foot.
I'm just glad it didn't break and we don't have to fix it before driving
Yeah.
300 miles.
We get to swap it over and I get to go turn into 10 and that's a win. So let's get it swapped over and then we'll hit the road. set up, time slips turned in, and I heard we're going to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some good food.
Gotta have some Chick-fil-A. You gotta get the Lord's Chicken on a drag and drive. And we're gonna put the stuff in the car that I left over there. I had the stuff in my car when I got to the staging lane, so I hid it in one of their sheds and I had to go back and get it. But the car's dialed in, back to street mode, and we got quite a few miles to drive.
Yeah, 275.
Yeah, I think I got like 250 because my hotel's a little sooner.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be fine. We're good. We got this. we have made it to the promised land. The land of the Lord's chicken, Chick-fil-A. So cars are running a little warmer than we'd like to see on the interstate, but that's to be expected considering we're on the interstate. I think it'll be all right though. So gonna let them sit here and cool down, eat some food, and then get back on the road and take it nice and slow till we get to the state highways and back roads like we've been on, because the cars like that a lot better. Well, it is the final day here at Sick Week 2024. We made it back to the track, and me and David were talking about it, and the only problem either of us had on the drive was our fuel pumps died. That's it, the whole time. That doesn't make any sense. Both of these cars are dedicated quarter-mile cars, and they just drove over 800 miles with virtually no issues. So I'm up in my launch RPM up to 3,500 like it was on day one, because I want redemption. I want to go make the same pass I was about to make. I want to pull a wheelie and run a mid-10. So that's what we're going for. That's what we're going to hope happens. I'm going to definitely hope the 4-link brackets don't come off again, because that was sketchy, and I don't want to buy a new drive shaft. But I am going to be redoing the 4-link when I get home, because I don't like it anyway. I was wanting to redo it, and now I definitely want to redo it. So yeah, we're good to go. We're here in the pits, and we're waiting on them to call C Group, and then we'll go make our run, and we will officially have completed Sick Week 2024, and I think we're going to be the fastest AMC, which is super cool, because remember, Brian Goldstone has a big block Chevy, and to win the fastest of a category, you have to have that manufacturer's engine in the car. So yeah, fastest AMC coming right at you.
All right, that's the final pass here at Sick Week. Yeah.
So as always, David is a terrible influence on the last day. And we were at a 10.7, but I want to go faster. And this thing was gaining horsepower every time we turned the timing up on the dyno. So we're going to up it 2 degrees, but we're going to have to actually move the crank trigger up. And so he's got his timing light out. We're going to check timing, and then we're going to move it 2 degrees, and then we'll have a little bit more power. Is that the plan?
That's the plan.
Good plan. You ready?
Yeah.
36?
I'd say you got almost even 35 degrees.
Okay.
It's close.
All right, so we are under here beside the motor. See, that's the oil pan. This is the ATI damper. This is the MSG crank trigger. If you look closely, there's these little dots right here, and I've marked where it's at. I'm gonna move this up 3 dots, and that should be 3 degrees of timing. And that way, we're actually running it more so at 38, because it's kind of actually at 35 right now. So yeah, we're gonna turn this up a little bit and then see if it runs a little better. So in theory, I just moved this 3 dots up. That should be 3 degrees of timing. Because if you extended these dots all the way around in a circle, that would be 360 dots. At least, that's my guess. I hope we didn't move it 6 degrees.
Find out.
We're gonna find out because he has a timing light. So be smart, use a timing light, don't make assumptions. All right, he's got his timing light. We're gonna fire it back up. You ready? Hang on. No, it's because I didn't work the throttle. Curve at 4 degrees down. All right. And then I can turn it up if I want to without moving that. There you go. All right, so we just went in and pulled 4 degrees of timing because it was reading 42 up there. We're gonna fire it up and see what it reads with the timing light. So let's go for it. Yeah, I added a degree back. Okay. So it's locked out at 30 degrees, 38 degrees of timing. What do you think, David?
I think it's gonna run good. It should pick up some mile an hour.
Oh boy. We're idiots.
So unfortunately, we ran out of time and we're not able to make our last hit there at Sick Week to see what the timing adjustment did, but I am just super blown away by this car and everything that it was able to do. It's a dedicated quarter-mile car that had sat unfinished in a garage for 40 years, and we were able to drag it out, throw it together using mostly the parts that were there, just adding a little bit of cooling and lights and taillights and all that stuff necessary to make it street legal, and then took it on Sick Week, raced at 5 different tracks, and drove 900 miles over the course of the week. The craziest part is the car was way nicer to us on the street than it was on the track. We ripped the 4-link off on day 1, had to fix all that, get a new drive shaft made, and just I'm super thankful for all the people that helped out. We had our buddies David and Connor Wakesman, we had Matt Hunt, and Matt and Adam, and then my dad, who unfortunately had to dip out in the middle of the trip. But it was really just such a great time, and I love the drag and drive community and all of the fantastic people that you meet out there, and I'm just so glad we finally have a really cool drag and drive car. I would never have expected everything to work like it did, the aluminum rod motor to be perfectly happy, to not even have to lash the valves, and as a whole, it's just a massive win. So I want to give a huge thank you to Duraley Performance for helping out with the cooling on the car, Driven Racing Oil for the oil that allowed that aluminum rod motor to live, and shout out to Lake Speed for the recommendation on that. It was a huge help. Obviously, QA1 Motorsports for the shocks that are on the vehicle. They were able to allow us to dial in that car and make it go down the track reliably and safely. And then, of course, all the other partners we have on board, like Holly Performance, Sweet Patina, Painless Wiring, Design Engineering Incorporated, and so many more that come together to help us get these cars finished and out on the road doing what they were meant to do. So a huge thank you to each and every one of you guys for watching. Please remember to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment in the bottom, and let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Just when you thought we were done, nope, we're idiots. We're in Reynolds, Georgia on the drive home, about an hour and a half from the shop, and decided to stop at Silver Dollar Raceway because they're having a test and tune night. So I never got to run my final number. We're gonna see what it was gonna do. The air's a little better here. Track prep's probably a little worse, but it's a big tire car, it should be fine. So we got it dialed back in. Didn't really have to do anything other than adjust the shocks, make sure it had fuel in it, fire it up, put the hood on, and we're good to go. So we're gonna go make a run, see what it does. First pass we ran a touch slower than we did down in Orlando on our last pass, so we changed some things around. We turned it back to 36 degrees of timing. I upped the launch RPM to 4 grand on this one, and we're gonna see how it handles that. So we did a 235 reaction time, which was actually a pretty good reaction time for me. The 60 foot was a 153. It did 149 yesterday. Everything else was slower across the board. Ran a 10.7 at 123. So made some changes. We're gonna see how it handles it. It seems to even run happier at just through the pits at 36 degrees of timing. So that might be where this thing needs to live. Even though in the notes, Don Ristori said he ran it all the way up to 40 degrees of timing for certain things. So I don't know. Yeah, this will be our last tip because they're about to close the staging lanes here in a few minutes. But hey, we're learning, we're having fun. The car's still together, and I can't complain even a little bit. Got it back. No 159 60, but it spun hard though. And 124 mile an hour though.
Picked up 1 mile an hour, so it liked where the timing was.
Yeah. Why is it not doing 128?
Not good.
129 anymore though, like it did up in Wisconsin. This thing did almost 129 miles an hour the first time out.
I mean, air density plays a lot in this.
Yeah. That thing was a little more rowdy.
Yeah.
I was driving it a little.
It liked it. It sounded much better than I thought. It doesn't like the 38. It likes that 36.
I think alcohol is going to be the answer for speed.
Yeah.